Dream a little dream of me. Welcome kindreds, it's Jessica the Story Witch, and this video is going to be a little bit about something that I'm doing for 2019. I'm going to be taking a depth year, which is a concept that I came across a couple of months ago now in the Bullet Journaling Witches Facebook group, which is a really lovely group if you are a witch who's into bullet journaling. I think there's quite a few members, and the admins are all really lovely, and there's a really nice energy in there, which sometimes can be hard to find in some kind of craft groups. So I'll leave a link for that down below if you're interested in joining that. But I saw this link, it was when people were talking about words of the year originally and like what that means, and somebody said that they hadn't heard of word of the year but they had heard of depth year, and they shared a link to an article by Leo Babuta, I'm not sure if that's exactly how you pronounce it, where he'd posted that like back at the end of 2017, I'm not sure if I'm getting all the dates right, but it doesn't really matter anyway. It's quite a new idea that he was sharing about how he was feeling like he had kind of accumulated all this stuff and accumulated like hobbies and interests and things like that, and rather than really diving deep into the interests that he already had, he was looking for new things all the time, you know. And so what he actually felt like he needed was to take a break from looking for the new, you know, from the novel things, to focusing on those things he already had, the resources perhaps he already had in his home, and really diving deep, you know, that's hence the depth year name, into those things, instead of kind of scattering his energy onto a much wider area, you know. So I thought, that's interesting. When I saw this, when I saw the name of it, I thought that looked interesting. I clicked the article and read the article, and I was kind of pondering on it for a little while. And then we had No Deck November, which for people in the tarot community, you know, it's not really like a thing. It's something that some people, because they feel like they're spending perhaps too much money on decks, or they're buying too many decks, in November they choose not to purchase decks for a while. Or, you know, some people do, some people don't. It's not a law. So some people who feel they want to kind of curb their spending or purchasing choose to opt out of buying decks in November. And I've been kind of following Simon, Hermit's Cave Simon, who, if you're in the tarot community as well, you will know his channel, The Hermit's Cave. In his Facebook group, he was talking about this whole idea of No Deck November, and then Ellie, or is it Elle? Sorry, she had posted about like a bunch of questions basically. So people have kind of been getting involved in the thread, and it's been really cool, because Simon does not adhere to No Deck November. He is a massive enabler and purchaser of decks. So he doesn't take November off from that. He just carries on the same as the whole rest of the year. But because people were interested in it, and from the comments what people were saying, they were saying things like, well, I'm taking time off because, not because they were worried about overspending, but because they actually felt that they weren't having the time to connect to the decks they've already got. So they were buying new decks before they'd really had chance to use and kind of connect with their old decks. So I shared this idea of a depth year in that group, because it's something that I'd kind of, by that point I'd almost decided that I was going to be doing it in 2019. And there was it was an interesting response. There was some people who were like, whoa, I could never do that, you know. But I think probably I didn't quite explain it properly, in that it doesn't necessarily mean that you stop buying things altogether for a whole year, you know. It really depends on what your goals are for it and how you're interpreting it. And it could well be that there's only certain spheres of your life where you want to go deep, and, you know, other things you're happy with your kind of current state of play on things. And like, if you're a collector of something, like if you're a tarot collector and you're not concerned about using all the decks that you have, then it's no issue to be collecting tarot decks, because actually the collecting of it is the thing, you know. Whereas if you see yourself not as a collector, but perhaps as more of as like a kind of reader, and you're buying more decks than you can use, then that feels like a different sort of energy, if you see what I mean. So yeah, it was interesting. And like I said, some people were like, whoa, I could not buy any decks for the whole of 2019. And other people were like, actually, it would feel quite good to do that. Not like, and I certainly feel like this, I feel like it would almost be like a break. I don't have so much of an issue with tarot decks because I don't feel like I'm crazy buying tarot decks. I don't buy loads and loads of decks. I haven't got loads and loads of decks. And, you know, I've got more than I need in essence. Well, how many do you actually need? Probably zero actually need. You know, it's not a kind of basic human need, but I've certainly got enough decks that I don't need to purchase any more. But the big thing for me is books, because I buy so many books. You know, Amazon Prime membership is a no-brainer for me because I do buy books a lot, and I do read them. I read a lot as well, but I don't always have chance to give the book the kind of attention it deserves. So sometimes when I buy a book and it's got like practical exercises in it, or perhaps meditations in it and things like that, and I like read it through and I'm like, oh, I need to read this back through really to do these meditations, but I don't. I kind of pop it on the shelf and I buy a new book. And yeah, I feel overwhelmed. I feel like having a depth year where I go deep into my interests rather than buying new things and bringing new things into my sphere is going to be really, it's going to be a relief for me. It's going to feel more like a holiday, like a break. Like I don't have to be like shoving things in all the time. I can just kind of, you know, and create some space. And that is how I feel like it's going to be. Kelly Bear made a lovely, she did like a live chat about this as well, because she's also going to be adopting this kind of principle of a depth year. And I've created a Facebook group for people who are kind of in the Witch Your Tarot community and want to do a depth year. So if you would like to join that group, I'll put the link for that group down in the comments as well. So just have a look in the description box and you can just request to join and I'll add you. So Kelly was talking about it, and you might want to go over and watch her live, and I'll link that as well. And also Brian Cormac Carr, he's a fellow Gemini, and you know, it's a very Gemini thing to kind of gather all the info. We want to have all the info. So, you know, he talked about how he was like there with boxes of books, and some of them which he hadn't even had a chance to read, and then there's a knock on the door and it's Amazon and they're delivering even more books, you know. So yeah, he talked about that. He didn't do like a whole video about it, but he had a kind of segment of a video about it, so I'll link that for you as well. And one of the interesting things I think that came up in the conversation in Simon's Hermit's Cave Facebook group was that for some people, this is not an appropriate, you know, I'm not recommending this for everyone at all. I'm not recommending it for anyone. I was just kind of talking about it, that it's something that I feel is relevant to me and something that I need to do. And for some people who are very kind of deep focused in certain hobbies, what they might actually need is a width year. You know, they might need a year where instead of spending all their time doing the one thing, it might be nice to kind of do new things, you know, do different things. And go to different places and, you know, hang out with different people and stuff like that. So like I say, I'm not recommending it. This might not be at all what you need, but if you feel like, you know, if you read that article, which I'll link, and you feel like it's something that does resonate with you, then, you know, perhaps it might be useful for you too, which is why I'm sharing about it here. For me, like I said, it's going to look like not buying any books for a year. It's going to look like particularly recipe books as well. I haven't talked about this on the channel before, but I have got a slight problem with buying recipe books, cookbooks. I've got way too many cookbooks, and every now and again I have a clear out and get rid of some of them, and then I buy more, and like more come out all the time. So many cookbooks come out all the time, and you know, it's just like, oh, that looks really good. And then, you know, I might cook one or two things out of them and then I don't. So this year I'm not going to buy any new cookbooks. I'm going to cook out of the books that I've already got. I'm going to cook the recipes that I already know and love. I am going to focus on the topics that I've already been studying for a long time. You know, I'm going to be doing more on astrology and moon wisdom, and kind of doing more kind of practical things within that practice, because I want to be sharing more of that on my channel as well. And what other areas? I'm going to be focusing more on my bullet journaling, my hand lettering, which is something that was one of my goals for this year, which has kind of improved. It has improved. I can see an improvement from the beginning of 2018 to now, but I want to take that even further. I want to do things like blending with my brush pens and stuff like that. So that's something that I want to do. I've already got a lot of the tools for this, and that's something that people were asking about as well, like how, you know, if I'm going to be focusing on doing like artwork or something for this year, but I'm saying I'm not going to buy anything, then how is that going to work? But it's not about not buying stuff, it's about going deep with your interest. So if your interest is art and like you've got some supplies, and obviously use those supplies, but then once you've used those supplies, of course buy more things, especially maybe trying things that kind of adding a bit of nails to the techniques you've already got. It's a principle, it's a philosophy, it's not a set of rules or anything like that, you know. It's just a way of approaching the things that you love to do. And tarot is another thing that I love to do. I'm going to go back through Mary Greer's Tarot for Yourself book, and I'm going to work through that again. I like to do that every couple of years or so, but I haven't done it for a little while, so that's something I'm going to do this year. What else? I'm going to actually work through, I think, well, I haven't totally decided on this, but I think I'm going to work through Ezzy Spencer's book again, the Lunar Abundance book. And I'm going to pull out these things anyway and kind of put them in a special area of my room, the things that are like my main focal points for this year. What are the tarot? I'm going to do the Queen's Journey, which Winter Night here has been leading us on, but we've kind of haven't done a little bit with it for a while. But I sort of started doing part of it from the book, but I haven't done very much more. And because my word for 2019, as well as it being a depth year, is also for me, my word of the year is sovereign and sovereignty. So I felt like that kind of Queen Up Tarot Queen's book is going to be a kind of, it fits in with the theme that I'm already working with for this year. So I'm going to be doing that. Clothes wise, I've been wondering about, I think I'm not going to buy any new clothes. You know, I might buy underwear and tights and things like that, but I'm not going to buy anything. I don't buy very many clothes anyway. I've had like, I tend to buy most of my clothes secondhand, or I quite like doing that kind of swishing stuff, you know, like when you all kind of get together and switch some clothes around with your friends and stuff like that. Yeah, so I haven't committed to that. I haven't totally, but I'm kind of thinking, how does this roll out to other areas of my life, you know? I was thinking I might not go anywhere new. Which might sound really boring, but I think like if we go away somewhere, perhaps it won't be to a new place, you know, it might be to somewhere that we've already visited before, and instead of just doing the same things as we did there last time, though, I will find out more about the place, you know. You can find out more about the history of the place perhaps, or something like that, you know. So I haven't totally solidified it in my mind yet how it's going to work for me, but it's that applying that principle to the different parts of my life and seeing how that goes. And one thing that I know I'm going to be doing in 2019 is I'm already kind of focused on our kind of recycling and stuff that we do here, and how much we kind of use and waste and stuff. So that's something that I'm going to be diving deeper into next year as well. And also with we home educate our children, and so I'm not going to stop buying resources and things for them, obviously, or taking them to new things. I'll definitely carry on, you know, doing new things with them. But I've also got masses of resources here in the house, which we kind of almost forget about sometimes. You know, we've got like science kits, and I've got like crochet supplies, knitting supplies, needle felting supplies, oil painting stuff, embroidery stuff, watercolor stuff, all sorts of art and crafty things. You know, there is so much stuff here already to use that I'm going to try and find kind of creative ways to bring those things into our kind of unschooling lives as well. So yeah, I didn't want this to be like a whole ramble, but that's kind of my introduction to depth year. And I know in the title of this video I did also say there is a giveaway, and there is going to be a giveaway which is linked to this whole idea of depth year. So I am part of Avalon Cameron's Patreon book club. It's a witchy book club. I can't even remember the exact title of what it's called, but it's Avalon's witch book club basically. And each month, I think it's going to be each month now, we weren't quite sure what the length of time was for each of the books now, but I think it's going to be each month there's going to be a new book which which is being looked at in book club. And Keegan said to me, Keegan Frank, you should check out her channel, she said, what are you going to do about book club? Because we were talking about depth here, and she's like, well, what are you going to do about book club? And I was like, shit, I hadn't thought about book club. And then I did think about book club, and I thought, what am I going to do about it? Because that's exactly the kind of gateway thing. Like if I was like, well, I won't buy any new books apart from book club, but then, you know, that's 12 new books a year if we're doing 12 books a month. And perhaps I might, 12 books, you know, a book a month. And perhaps I might already have some of the books here, but I might not. We don't know ahead, you know, too much ahead of time what the next book is going to be. So I thought, no, actually, that is not going to help me out with the principle of this year. So I didn't want to cancel my Patreon membership because I wanted to kind of, you know, I'm still interested in book club. So what I've decided to do, and I've spoken to Avalon about this to check if it's okay, and she said that's totally fine, is I'm going to gift my book club membership to someone else for the year. So basically what that means is that I will be paying your $3 a month for you to be part of the book club, and I will withdraw from the book club. So it all happens over on Facebook. So I will leave the Facebook group and you will join the Facebook group where they talk about the books and stuff like that. And some of it happens on Avalon's channel as well. So if you are interested in taking my place for a year in Avalon's book club, then let me know down below in the comments. And there's also another prize or giveaway. I wanted to do something nice as well because it's basically a year now since I started my channel, since I started doing kind of regular posting on my channel, well, any sort of posting on my channel. And when I started this, I didn't really have a set kind of goal or anything in mind for it, and it is just kind of, it's blown my mind, you know, that people are really interested in what I'm sharing here, and I want to make this channel kind of better and better and have even more good things to share with you guys, and so that, you know, this is a thank you. It's a thank you for people who enjoy watching and who comment, because I know I'm a bit crap at replying straight away, but I do, you know, I reply to all the comments even if it does take me a few days. So please keep commenting. So anyway, what am I talking about? Let's get to the other prize. So the other prize is a bullet journal themed prize, and it's going to be, I haven't put all the things together yet, but it's going to be basically be like a bullet journal starter kit. So there's going to be a journal, there's going to be pens, there's going to be washi, there's going to be stickers, you know, it's that kind of thing. So I'm not going to show you what those things are going to be because it'll be a surprise, but I'm going to pack all that up into a box. And so if you're interested in the reading, you know, in the book club prize, then let me know. And if you're interested in the bullet journal prize, then let me know. And I should probably set a deadline for when, and with the post and everything now, we should probably make this pretty soon. So how about if we say it's the 22nd today, so probably by the 30th of November, by the end of the month, then I will draw the winners on the 1st of December, and then that should still give me enough time, hopefully. It depends if it's somebody in Australia or New Zealand who wins, then it might not make them. Obviously, if it's the book club prize, that makes no difference because you can join straight away. You know, that's an E thing anyway, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, let's say the last day of November for letting me know in the comments for this video if you would be interested in the book club prize or the bullet journal prize, and I will aim to get it to you ready for you to start the next year. Does that sound good? I hope so. And, you know, thanks for being here with me on my channel and listening to my ramblings about depth year. Are you perhaps thinking about depth year? I will, like I said, I'll leave all the links and everything down below, hopefully. I know I've mentioned loads of links in this video, so I'll do my best to remember to link all those as well for you. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Warmest blessings. I will see you very soon.